just have my seat. So let me introduce my panelists before I start talking and saying anything for today's discussion. Let's have a round of applause for Dr. Kellee Franklin, Salaheddine Kandri, Mohamed Negm, Dr. Areej Abdullah Shafai, Professor William Cornwell. A round of applause, please. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know most of you is outside having the break of lunch. Unfortunately, we will not eat for the main while till we finish our panel discussion. However, we will try to make it short and sweet. Something that they didn't mention in my designation, I'm an engineer by profession and a youth leader by passion. I'm an agile coach at Emirates MBD Bank, so I'm a banker. So I will not introduce my panelists by my own. Let them have the stage. And let's talk about the transforming of education and how we can fulfillment the education in an innovative way. So let's deep dive with my panelists, with their knowledgeable of today's discussion, and hope it will be an attractive for all of you. Thank you so much. Let's start with you, Dr. Kellee. How was your day?
It was great, and it's been a great 2 days of learning and networking. I want to thank the leadership at Genie and, of course, the leadership here at the Institute for hosting this amazing event, and for, of course, all of you here who've come up and introduced yourself. I've been so amazed with all the innovation that's been happening. And innovation doesn't happen without education. And so this is such an important topic, and it's too bad that we're having it on the tail end of the last day of our time together, because I think it's so fundamental to the work that we do. I'm a product of an elementary school teacher who taught for over 50 years. She's 87 years young, and she just retired after continuing to do her work in substitute teaching. So I understand the demands of primary education, and I myself, even though my trade is an innovation consultant, I have spent over 20 years serving as an instructor at the graduate level and executive level with leading institutions in the United States as well as abroad. So I'm excited and I'm passionate about how we can transform the educational experience, because I do think it's fundamental to not only the journey that we have in our primary and secondary schools, but also continuing on as lifelong learners. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kellee. So let's start with you with the first question. I realized that you have an technology background, right? So my first question will be to you. What role do AI emerging technologies play in shaping the future of education?
I think that's important for us to think about on multiple levels. We had a panelist yesterday that talked about the introduction of AI at the primary education level. I have a little bit different perspective on that. I think AI is going to fundamentally transform many aspects of education. I often reference Aristotle, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with this quote. We can't educate the mind without educating the heart. And I don't know what it's like in other countries as much as I can talk about the education in the United States. But we push academics so strongly with our young people. And my great concern with the push of our technologies is that we're forgetting about the heart. And of course, I see the impact of that when these students end up in the graduate level, and then the focus and the stress levels become on academics, and then of course I consult them when they are working in our workforce. So I offer that out to you as innovators to be thoughtful about. We can't just solely focus on someone's mind. We have to also be thoughtful about people's hearts. But AI, if you think about it, right now, AI can produce a dissertation and source it in a relatively short order, which normally would take a couple of years to produce. And so that really has us thinking quite profoundly, how are we designing and thinking about how we're educating and designing the educational journey in a powerful way for our scholars. And so I think that's something we need to think about, and something that I've been actually pushing for the majority of my academic career is, are we really designing and delivering the academic experience that's challenging our scholars in a way that they can go out in the world and make a significant impact?
Thank you so much, Kellee. Okay, my iPad has been closed. Just give me a while to write the password again. I don't know, sometimes that's technology. Thank you so much, Mr. Kellee. Mohamed, how was your day?
It was fantastic, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, glad to hear this. So to you, Mohamed, how do you define innovation in education, and what is the crucial in today's world when we specify education?
Okay, this is a big question.
It is.
Yeah, but let me simplify the definition of the innovation in education. من وجهة نظري الابتكار في التعليم هو البريدجينج between الجاب اللي في الأكاديمي في الجامعة أو المدرسة وما يحدث على أرض الواقع. إن إزاي إن إحنا نصمم مناهج وندعم مدرسين ونصمم بيئة تعليمية تحاكي الواقع في اقتصاد متغير في تكنولوجي سريعة للغاية with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. This is different story because my daughter, she is 12 from Gen Z. Till now, she doesn't know why we are studying history. Why? The same way of teaching till now. ليس لدينا التجربة التعليمية مختلفة. ما عندناش التجربة اللي تحاكي الجيل الحالي والقائمة على learner centric philosophy تمحور حول المتعلم. لأن مش فقط الابتكار في التعليم مش هيكون في جانب واحد. The AI and any emerging technology, virtual reality, IoT, it's a tool. It's not the purpose. It's not the way. هي أداة نستخدمها للابتكار. فبالتالي احنا محتاجين ان احنا نصمم تجارب تعليمية تفاعلية تناسب الجيل الحالي. محتاجين نمكن المدرسين التيتشرز الانستراكتورز بأدوات وطريقة تناسب الوقت الحالي. محتاجين ان احنا نصمم بيئات تفاعلية تناسب الوقت الحالي. محتاجين التوبكس. أنا ما أعرفش if we are teaching design thinking, critical thinking, when we are going to teach the students AI, يعني لازم يكون مادة موجودة. إمتى هنخلي التعليم عبارة عن مشاريع وعبارة عن تطبيق. فعشان أرجع للسؤال، الابتكار في التعليم هو إيجاد حلول تضيق الفجوة ما بين التعليم في الأكاديمي والمدارس والمطلوب في السوق.
Thank you so much, Mohamed. يعطيك العافية.
يعافيك.
Goes to you, Dr. Areej. How have you been so far with you?
It's been great,
I'm
alhamdulillah.
glad to hear my panelists are feeling so excited today. So to you, Dr. Areej, how can innovation reshape the way we approach education and professional development?
Yeah, definitely. So, مساكم الله بالخير جميعاً. First of all, it's been a pleasure being here among such great, innovative experts. And I would say that innovation in education, it's no longer a luxury. It's the driving force behind exciting and meaningful learning experience. So in this rapidly evolving world where technology reshapes industries and educations overnight, traditional education alone can no longer keep pace. We must embrace new learning strategies that foster adaptability, foster engagement, continuous development, and sustainable learning. As my esteemed colleagues here and all the other esteemed speakers talked about the technology and how technology transforms education in all areas, the way we teach, the way we design curriculums, and the way we deal with the learners and with the students. You know, with all those AI and VR and different digital tools, different learning platforms available for learners, we need to consider another fundamental shift in education that is not only focusing on what we learn or how we learn. It's focusing on who we learn from. Who we learn from. One of the most recent innovative transformative approach in executive education specifically, and education in general, is the reverse mentorship approach. So basically this approach challenges the traditional education model and hierarchy and redefines engagement. For decades, professional development has followed top-down model where, you know, leaders train employees, passing down knowledge in very linear fashion. But what if we just flip this out? What if the leaders and the senior management are the ones who are being monitored by their younger employees? What if the university faculty and staff and even teachers are being trained by their students? In this world where the AI fluency and the innovation and thinking outside of the box and taking risk much stronger in those younger generations, reverse mentorship, it's really an opportunity that to bridge the generational and knowledge gap and even foster a culture of collaborative intelligence and sustainable learning. This is not just a theoretical engineering, Maitha. I've conducted a research on reverse mentorship. One of the questions I ask the employees, simple yet powerful question, do you think you have skills that your leaders or managers or directors don't have? And the interesting finding, 91% of the employees believe, yes, they have skills their leaders don't have. Well, this statistic alone challenges the traditional way of, you know, the one way of communication. And even more compelling, they discovered 3 areas they wish their leaders take training on. The first one, of course, the AI and the digital world, which is no surprise in here. And the second one, the resistance and change management. Well, basically, it seems that they're struggling dealing with their leaders and managers with the transformation and change thing. And the last one, the innovation and the creativity in general. So with all those findings in place, if we really want the education and the training to stay relevant, impactful, and meaningful, we must go beyond the traditional education, embracing new learning strategies and mindset and culture that really creates the culture where everyone contribute, engage, and learn from one another. This is the education that we're striving for, the education that is inclusive, dynamic, and sustainable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Areej. Comes to you, our professor. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Perfect. So the question goes to you. What are the biggest challenges the education sector faces today that require innovative solutions?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to be on the panel. It's been a great event. And my name is William Cornwell. I'm provost at the American University in the Emirates. And I did most of my education experience has been in the United States, but I've been here in Dubai now for 6.5 years with the American University, which is located here in Dubai. It's a very exciting area to be involved in because Dubai is always looking for new ideas, new solutions, and is not as encumbered in many ways with legacy systems and histories and so forth that sometimes make change difficult. So higher education is facing a lot of challenges worldwide. The cost is very high for many students. There need to be ways to make higher education more affordable, and technology does provide opportunities for that. You can get you can go to ChatGPT and you can get an incredible tutor for free. And the things that it used to be a family would have to spend really a significant amount of money on to get that sort of personalized attention. And now you just log on, create an account, and there it is. So universities, I don't think, have fully capitalized on that sort of opportunity for personalized education, student support services. That could be a significant cost saving, for instance. while providing better service, while providing a higher level of education. A second challenge for higher education is that, of course, we are in a time of tremendous change. And higher education in some ways is like medicine. You have a great trust. It's a social trust. It's a trust that families, students, society put in higher education because education is critical for national development, for the economy, for developing an educated citizenry that will be capable of contributing in all ways to a country. And that trust means that we can't, in higher education, necessarily be like in business where they can say, well, we'll move fast and break things. Because if they break things, maybe what they've broken is like the investment of the people who invested in the company. But the damage otherwise may not be that great. But in higher education, we're subject to regulations, we're subject to accreditation standards. Those things don't change quickly. They limit what educators can do, and there are reasons for those limits. Again, like medicine, you don't want a hospital group to just be doing things willy-nilly without a lot of oversight. So we are subject to oversight, we're subject to accountability, and we're subject to the trust that people have put of the minds and souls of the people who are in our classrooms. So we have to look for innovative solutions, but also minimize the risks of harm in doing that. I believe that AI, for instance, does have tremendous possibilities, and we focused a lot also here on in the classroom and in education, but that goes for the operations of universities as well. There are a lot of processes that could be really simplified, made more efficient, faster, to get feedback to students quicker, to reform policies and procedures faster, to produce reports for government agencies and accreditors faster. Like, there are a lot of cycles that have been slow in higher education that could be sped up significantly. And that in turn means faster assessment of programs, faster program changes, and a more responsive higher education sector. Just one final thought I want to leave in these comments, or my comments at least, is that I think education, traditionally we've thought of students, for instance, if we give them a writing assignment, they're, today we might say, a content producer, right? They are responsible for generating the paper or developing the project. I feel like a model that's going to be more required for us to think about as educators is less being the author. That's still significant, I don't mean to say that goes away, but in a way it's more like being a manager or an editor. If you prompt an AI model and you get back something, that's almost like having an assistant, right? It's almost like now you're a manager with this assistant who's helping you. So what do you do with this product? You don't just turn that in. That's not your work. It's not really what you've done. But now you go into almost an editing mode. You think about, okay, what can I do with this? What can I add? What needs to be done to improve this? The fact checking, the further prompts, the revisions. So in a sense, it's going from an authorial mindset to an editorial or a manager's mindset. You are almost controlling a team, except it's a team of artificial agents. And I think that changes how we think about education. It changes what we think about assessing. What are we assessing when we're assessing students? And there are a lot of great opportunities for that, but it does require a lot of rethinking of the classroom, assessments, programs, and so forth. I could say a lot more, but of course I know we're near lunch, so I don't want to keep everyone.
Thank you so much, Professor. Yeah, we're actually running out of time, but before we close up the panel discussion, I would like to have a short, quick advice for the audience to take away from our panels today. So let's start from you, Professor, and then we will end with Kellee. Just a quick, short advice for our audience to take away from today's Knowledgeable of Education and Innovation.
I think what I would say is definitely AI is here to stay in education. It's going to produce a lot of radical questions about academic integrity. What is academic integrity? Are we measuring student work, or are we measuring, how do we measure the student's own learning versus the work that they turn in, which may have a lot of AI assistance? And ultimately, how can we use these tools to ensure that our students are ready to go into the work world where they will be expected to use these tools effectively? So universities have to be immediately integrating these systems into their processes and their education so our students are ready for the world of work that they're going to be facing.
Thank you, Professor. Dr. Areej?
Yeah, I would say this is a call for the academic leaders, for decision makers in institutions of education, to really think of opening space and opportunities for learners to experience unexpected things and unexplored things, to create the culture where they can, experiment, think, make mistakes, learn from mistakes, excel and exceed our expectations in a way that we never imagined. This is our own responsibilities. This is our own job that we have to fight for if we really want to see a real impact on education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Areej. Mohamed?
For anyone who is working in the education domain, you have to design any learning experience based on learning-centric philosophy. We have to make them satisfied with their needs, with their mentality, to make the experience fun, interested, and excited, to generate generation with different mentality to build new civilization for us.
Perfect. I like the word civilization. Thank you, Mohamed. Dr. Kellee?
Yeah, I've been inspired by all the conversation that my colleagues have said, because I do think it fundamentally comes down to AI is going to transform all of the industries that we talked about over the last few days, education being one of them. It's going to create more efficiency and more effectiveness in many of the things that the professor talked about. We have to come back to our educational systems being about learning. And I'm not so sure that in my experience that many of the things I've experienced that it's been about learning. It's been about information delivery and less about learning. And so I think if we can build partnerships with industry, which makes this conversation very important, with innovation leaders, and I think that innovators and industry needs to build partnerships with academia so that when we are graduating scholars, they are ready to hit the ground running. We need to have academic and industry partnerships that aren't currently happening, and to build that collaborative partnership so that we can change the culture of academia that has been long overdue and that I've been talking about for a long time, which I'm sure the good professors here can also attest to. I appreciate your advocacy, because it's going to not take the panelists here, it's going to take all of you out in the audience and beyond to make this happen. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kellee. Thank you for our panelists. A round of applause to them. Thank you so much for our audience. Enjoy your day ahead, and please, you may go to the lunch. Thank you.